Ron Burgundy.
Howdy, anybody that might be out there. And actually, you won't get this for a couple minutes, so maybe you're not there yet, but you will be.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Time. It's all wibbly wobbly,
Yeah.
timey-wimey.
Timey-wimey. Yes. Where did I put? Oh no, it's way over there. It's on the other table where I took the picture of all the comics. I'll have to break out the 1 in 10 then. Use that as my go-by.
Oh no.
Everybody's losing their mind.
It's been contaminated.
Don't do it. But it is a pretty sweet cover. If I ever did decide to get it graded, it's got my fingerprints all over it now, so it does not matter. So, I don't have bubbly this time. It's the Claw. So
Claw?
we're trying the key lime pie, or excuse me, just the key lime flavor.
Okay.
Surprisingly good. I hate key lime pie.
Oh, wow.
So I took a swig of this and I was like, oh no. And I was like, oh, it's not bad. Okay,
cool. Not really from the South then.
Oh, shut up.
I don't know who you are.
None of this makes sense.
Wow. Yeah, I know. Do you like Cheerwine?
Oh, I love Cheerwine. Oh,
okay.
God.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's okay. We're getting back to the right side of things.
It was a couple years back. We were in Sam's Club, maybe Sam Club or Costco. No, I forget which one it is. We were in Spartanburg at the time, so forget. Oh, it's gonna bug me that I can't remember which one it is, but regardless, Grace and I were in there. We were just walking around looking for stuff and everything, and in the very back where all the sodas and stuff were, we went back there because Camden wanted some Coke or something like that. And anyway, in the very corner of the building, they had like 2 pallets full of cases and cases of Cheerwine.
Nice.
So Grace went over and like hugged it, and I went, hold on a second. I took a picture of it and like posted on my Facebook page or Twitter or something like that.
Of her hugging it, or just
of her hugging it?
Oh, okay.
And Cheerwine, they DM me. They're like, hey, we post these kind of things or share these things. Can we use this? Is this okay? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Don't worry.
Yep. Has a minor in it. It's cool.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, it probably was at the time.
Yeah.
No, think about it. So
they'd be like, oh no, we better check.
Yeah. All right. So I have not had a chance to find Sirens yet. 2 of my shops have already gotten back to me, told me that they haven't. Another one is going to look in their warehouse and let me know, but they probably wouldn't be able to look at it until this weekend. So if they don't have it, I might just, if you just want to pick up the trade, I hate doing that.
No, that's true, but that's what I did. I got a hardback off of eBay.
Gotcha.
It was the individual books between Lone Star and getting the others off of eBay was going to be more than this hardcover trade off of eBay. So I'm like,
wow.
Okay. Yeah. The individual books are,
they're getting a little pricey.
Yeah. So I'm not a fan unless it comes out that way of trades either. I would much rather, but that was the best way. So I grabbed a hardcover.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. All right, so I'll do that then. I'll pick that up. I'll look for it this weekend. Whoop, that's not what I didn't mean to share it. Remove.
Ooh.
Previews, spoilers for FOC. Sure, okay, whatever.
Let me see. Do I have that on my list? Yeah, retro. There we go. Okay, got it done. Did we talk about Steven's email last week or last show?
Yes, we did.
Okay, do you want to do something with his voicemail?
We didn't do that, and I haven't even downloaded or listened to it yet.
Okay.
So let's do that next episode.
Okay. Yeah, it'll hold.
Yeah, because with all my technical issues and whatnot, so it's better to not do it that way. So
is there anything that you want to talk about Ryan's email? I read it. It was.
Oh, no, not on the show since we're live and all.
Yeah, it was there. Well, are you wanting to pursue and come up with ideas of people and et cetera, et cetera? Okay.
Yeah. So we'll talk offline about it.
Yeah. We don't want to offend all those has-beens. We don't want on the show. Oh, did I say? Oh, my bad.
Has-beens. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did you see the announcement for was it the 1 in 100
Oh, the
variant?
contest for Grim #1? Oh, I was gonna
Yeah.
talk about it here on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got
And
the
that's a
part.
very time-sensitive thing, so I'm gonna have to be quick about it, about getting this episode up.
I
As far as
had
the audio one.
had it
I ha
saved, but my
holy cow, my hair. I need a haircut, man.
my tweeter got all weird here. Put a hat on. See, did you see my hat?
Yeah, I saw your hat.
Teal Productions, Starcast, Ronin Rabbit.
Oh, I didn't see the Tilbert. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
see, that's it.
Because the only thing I could read was the Ronin Rabbit. I was like, what has he got?
Got them all listed.
Good job.
We had these made up for Heroes 5 or 6 years ago, and wore this to Terry and I wore these to Heroes.
Very cool. Very good. I need to do something like that for Boom Addiction. Get some shirts made or something. Get some hats. Get some stuff like that. Wonder if our listeners would want some swag.
Anybody out there want some swag? Let us know.
Yeah.
Long time listener, first time swag wearer.
Swag wearer, yeah.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I actually before I sat down and read and stuff this evening, I checked everything and I didn't see anything that remotely had a code word or anything, so I don't.
Oh no, the code word is on Instagram. Today's code word.
Today's
code word is on Instagram on their story.
Oh.
They posted it about 2:30.
Okay.
And so tomorrow's, the hint that they gave you for tomorrow's is it's going to be on their TikTok.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing that it's on their TikTok because, and so the code or the hint was escapes. So what they're doing is they're giving you like a some kind of code word or clue word or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the clue word was escapes, and then the thing after that said something along the lines of something about ticking or something like that. So I just assumed it was TikTok. So
now I am looking at their Instagram front page. How do I get to their story?
Oh, you click on their logo at the top, and then that'll open up their stores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. So
7 hours, 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. That probably escapes at first, and then follow the ticking sound tomorrow to find the next clue. Oh,
Yep.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Must be on Facebook.
Yeah. So I was like, sweet. Okay. I just saw them on TikTok. I just now noticed that they were on it. And I was like, sweet.
Yeah. I went and hooked up all of them for, actually, I knew them except for TikTok.
Yep. Yeah. I've got them all.
On the Twitter. So I'm like, okay.
Yep. Hi, Terry. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Can't you? I'm trying to give you some time away from Ed.
No, no. She can hear me as it is. The living room where she's at is close enough that she can probably hear me talking now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, with Grace back, she's on the other side of the wall now because I'm upstairs. So, all right, we're almost 10 minutes in. You want to go ahead and get started? We'll just see what happens.
Let me throw out a couple more things.
Sure.
So you're going to talk about the contest.
Yep.
Did you watch the Grim Boom YouTube?
Yes.
And I posted on the Facebook page about the Comic Source podcast interview with
I saw that.
Stephanie. Is that her name?
Stephanie Phillips. Yeah.
Phillips. Yeah. And I would recommend that for anybody that.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to listen to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Jace does. Jace. I think it's Jace. Does a pretty good job with those interviews. He is very, if I may say, oh, Terry's doing fine. And she says the house is too small. Jace is very Michael Myersian in his comic book fandom.
Nice.
It really comes across in his shows. I don't know. Now, he will say that flat out, I read this and I didn't like it.
Right.
And that's unless he's doing a dual host, which some of the episodes are, he may go into it. But if he's just doing a single host, that is the extent that he gets into talking about a book that he did not enjoy.
Oh, okay.
So he's straightforward about it, but he doesn't want to badger and beat up anybody, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
just I didn't like it. This was good. But overall, no, I don't know if I'll read any more of it.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, okay, well, he won't be talking about that book anymore. So,
Yeah. That's good. I can
um,
appreciate that.
well, and yeah, I think that's the best way to handle it. I
Mhm.
mean, I'll explain why I didn't like it if I really know.
Right.
But a lot of times, I'm such a mood reader that I'll read something, and if it's not the right mood, I'm like, no. That's The Killer, for instance. No, I know
Hmm.
why I have an issue with that book. It's too
That's
much
all right.
reading.
It's okay,
Ugh.
man. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. So I read Dune, Grimm, Storyteller, and Once and Future.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So
Yeah, I was hoping to get by the shop so I could get last week's books since I
mhm.
couldn't download the previews. Um, but yeah, I just life's it's not that life is too busy. It's just everything is just far enough apart that it makes it a little tight to get
Right.
to everything and do
Yeah.
everything. So
Gotta work at it, and some. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. I knew that the emails um, deaden, or whatever you want to call that, but I didn't realize it was just a week.
yeah, I thought it was longer than that too.
That's all we had. That's good to
So
know. I will remember to not let that stuff sit, and I'll
yeah,
grab it as soon as I see it.
yeah. Yeah, and I usually, like I said, I usually download it, Monday or Tuesday,
Mhm.
and I'm good. But because I was gone, I just didn't think about downloading it. So and it wasn't even that I was gone when they came in. It just wasn't in my routine.
Right. Yeah.
So I was trying to get ready to go get Grace. So all right, now we're ready. Are we ready? Are you sure?
Yep.
You got your list?
I think we went through it. We're
Okay,
good.
cool. All right, episode 38. Sweet, sweet.
Yes.
All
Yep.
right, cool, awesome. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Everybody, welcome again to Boom Addiction. This is episode number 38. I am I
That's
am
my
Chris Barton.
that's
I'm
my
Chris Barton.
homage to Japanese, like all,
I
all
didn't
the
know
girls. You
what was
haven't
going
seen all
on
the
there.
the Oriental girls or
Yes, I
Japan
have. Yes.
with
Yeah.
the I don't know what anime. I don't know what that is.
It really threw me off when you did it. So
Yeah,
so I'm
it doesn't go with
Chris.
it. Yeah. Okay.
No, and he's Ed.
I'm Ed. Yes.
You're still Ed. Okay,
Yes, I am. Yes.
okay. So it's been 2 weeks. I had some vacation I took. I had to get away from the show.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah. So
it's
and see what happens when
this is a lot to handle.
I
I,
give give Ed too much time by himself, and he just turns into anime
yeah.
girl. So,
Yeah. I'm
so
even wearing. See, guys here, Usagi. There. So
yeah, but that's legit. That's
I'm
legit though.
I'm doing the whole Eastern entertainment thing.
It's good. Doug, good seeing you again.
Hey, Doug. Thanks for
So
joining.
I saw so side note, I watched 2 live shows before I came and did this show on YouTube. So one of them was BJ Kicks. He's a guy here in Raleigh. He's on YouTube. Highly recommend if you're not checking him out, go check him out. Does a ton of different stuff as far as comic book stuff. But he does a live show every Thursday night at 7 o'clock on his YouTube channel, and he talks about kind of whatever. So like tonight he was talking about um, Neil Adams and George Perez, and then he was talking about he's a big Milestone comics fan, so
Oh,
he talked
cool. Okay.
a lot about them. I don't know. I always forget to go back and look and see, but I don't think he's been reading comics for. He's not. He's not like our age. He's like in his. I think he's in his 20s, mid 20s,
Oh, wow.
maybe.
Okay.
So, I could be wrong. I'm horrible at those things. But he is. He's really good at what he does. His whole production is pretty good. So and I hadn't caught him in the last couple of weeks, so I jumped in there and listened to him for a little bit. And then my local shop, or one of my local shops, does a Thursday night sale at 8 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube. So check that out. They had the Grimm #1 foil variant, that the 1 in 25, the the Frizen one.
Mhm.
Um, I tried to get it. I didn't get it. He oh, so Doug knows BJ. Sweet. Oh yeah, because Doug, you're here local to me, so
Yeah,
that's
I
fine.
was gonna say that
Yeah,
means
sorry
that
about that.
Doug is down there somewhere.
Yeah, Doug is nearby me, so that makes total
Mm,
sense. So I did actually run by BJ at Ultimate Comics on Saturday. I was there for like a split second just for free comic book day. The unfortunate thing with that is I did not get I didn't get the boom stuff
okay.
because they packed, you know, like a regular comic bag full of free comics. Then they just handed them out at the door. And
Okay.
so when they handed it to me, it had like the Marvel ones on one side and had some other like indie stuff on the back. So I was like, oh, well, this is obviously going to have the boom stuff in it.
Right. In between.
And it didn't. So I missed out on that. So hopefully, that my another shop, they had stuff. I messaged them. They never responded to me, but I know they're pretty good about pulling stuff for me when I ask for it.
Okay.
So I asked them, I said, hey, have you got any copies? You know, hopefully I'll swing by there this weekend and they'll have some copies. If not, I'm gonna need to hunt down those free comic books. So
I went all crazy. I don't have a store here close by, so I ordered the complete set from Mile High Comics.
ooh, like
Yeah.
all of them?
Yeah.
How many is that?
It was a
Don't tell me how
little.
much. Just tell me how
Oh,
many.
it was a little bit more money than I really wanted to spend, but
Oh, jeez. There was a shop, I forget who it was because I was looking online for them.
mhm.
I forget what shop it was. Might have been State of Comics. I forget who it was, but anyway, they were selling them for 30 cents a piece.
Well, I did it last last year. Is that the one that got messed up and they
Yeah.
spread them out in the
Mhm,
release? Um, and I bought leading into it, of course,
mhm.
all of them for like 35 bucks in shipping and handling.
Oh, that's not bad, yeah. Oh,
So,
with shipping? Okay.
no, before. I'm
Oh,
sorry, did I
before.
say with?
But
Yeah,
still, that's
before shipping. Well, yeah,
I
because
would
there
do
was
that, yeah.
that's less than a dollar a piece, right? There were
Yeah.
more than 35 books.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I was like, okay.
Alright, everybody, I apologize. My hair has
Oh,
gotten way
oh,
too long.
watch out. Oh,
Jeez.
yeah, see, I have a hat on. Yeah,
Yeah. I
mine's
should
gotten way too long too, but I just, yeah,
I go away for a week and just everything goes crazy.
I know. Yeah,
I let well, you're fine.
I let
I'm
my,
like, I can't grow anything. This is as far as it'll go. So
no, you just got to sit on it and let it go, man.
no,
Yeah.
my family will shoot me. So yeah, so
Well,
a lot of
there's
stuff.
that.
Well, not shoot me. Probably I don't know, maybe.
Maybe
So yeah, now that I think about it.
never put it to the test, so you're not really
No,
sure
I
what they'll
hadn't.
do.
I had so yeah, so a lot of cool stuff. I have not been by the comic shop in the last 2 weeks, so I don't have any well, I mean, I have one cool thing. I did pick this up in Jacksonville.
Well, I was gonna
Uh,
say you had a,
I've got
yeah.
this. It's not in a poly bag because because I don't have my preview copy.
For those of
Um,
you that haven't read that book, that was Robin Hood too. Just
yeah, it was
throwing that
Robin.
out there. Yeah, that's like
That's the once in
Robin Hood.
future number 25. I think it's the 1 in 10. I forget
Not
what it's hold on. It's got to
not
say
to
it
be
on.
confused with Xenoscope's Robin Hood with a Y. Robin.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not that one.
Oh, that is true. I forgot about that. That is
Yeah, Robin
so
Hood.
so yeah, that is the 1 in 10. So anyway, so that'll be my reading copy for this episode.
1 in 10 virgin.
Sorry if that throws anybody off.
He touched it.
I am a huge fan of variant covers. If you've never listened to the show before, I do my best to try and collect as many of them as possible that are within reasonable prices. I'm not going to spend $50 on a book, but at the same time, I will spend $50 on five. You know,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
makes
10 a,
sense.
10 a piece. That's not
Yeah.
bad.
So I'll do that. But anyway, so I hadn't been able to get by to get all my stuff. So I'm a little weird as far as not knowing where all my stuff is. I don't have anything to show and tell really, other than that one. I do know I have quite a few Grim variants at one shop. So
Waiting for you.
yeah, so hopefully can get those. I know one of them is the Dave Johnson FOC cover that we talked about, where she's like jump. I've used it everywhere as far as I
Right.
look.
Yeah.
That is my favorite one.
That's a nice cover.
The Jay Lee one is really nice. Oh, excuse me. The Jay Lee one's the one where she's jumping. The Dave Johnson FOC one, or no, the Dave Johnson is the one in One Per Store, I think. But it's her sitting on top of something like a rock or something like that,
Oh, okay.
or a cat. I don't know, one of those.
You can't stay there, Boo. You gotta go on.
So that's
There
good.
you go. Thank you.
I'm sure the cat will be back.
Yeah, he will. I'm in his room after all.
Just
So
all right, you're just
yeah,
in the space.
he's letting me borrow it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tell him appreciate that.
that's what he was letting me know.
Just taking one for the show.
He's like, I can send you out of here if I want to.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Just wait 1 second. So,
Yep.
all right. So let's go ahead and get into FOC, which is how we normally start the show off. FOC, and I'll go ahead and put it up here on the screen for everybody if you want to see. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can check it out there. We go to previewsworld.com and look at the FOC there. You can go to the website. It's right here. Ta-da. And go to catalog, go down to final orders, FOC, and then that'll bring you up to this page and you can filter nicely. And then it'll tell you the date right over here. This is when it's due. This is when it's due at Diamond. Is on the 16th. So I think they take their orders all the way up till midnight, as long as you got them in by then. But you have to get up with your local retailer or your LCS. I don't know why I almost said LOC. I don't know what that
Go
meant.
to your LCS before the FOC to order your COMIC. And yeah, okay.
Yeah, buddy. It's just like that commercial I keep seeing. I hate that thing. All the
acronyms.
Yeah, all the acronyms. So yeah. Orders are due on the 16th. Check with your local shop. Make sure you know when they put their stuff in. I know one shop around here does it on Saturdays. Another shop does it on Sundays. So it just depends on who you're ordering with, stuff like that. But as long as you're communicating with your LCS, they will be big fans of yours because they love doing previews. One shop I just found out today, and I didn't realize this. If you do an FOC you order something through FOC, they'll give you 20% off
of just that
whatever you ordered.
Okay.
So if you just order one book, it's 20% off that book. So it's nice. Like sweet.
Okay.
It's like you are my new friend.
Yep.
So you and I
looking at those lower alphabet covers there. Okay, let's see. Yeah,
I'm all on board with that. So, all right, so let's jump into it. Dune, the waters of is it Canley or Conley?
I say Canley.
Okay, Canley. So see number 2 of 4, that Dune miniseries. So we've got a cover A and a cover C. So that means this one will be a logoless cover. Not a Legoless cover, but a logoless.
You mean a virgin, Chris?
A virgin.
Is that what you're trying to avoid saying?
I'm trying to avoid.
Cover? Oh, okay.
Yes, my virgin ears. So, and then we get Grimm number 2. So we got a cover A, cover B, which is obviously the foil, a C, and then we have an F, the FOC here. Who is doing this cover? As you can tell, I have not looked at these covers yet.
HANS.
I don't know who that is. Oh, Stephanie Hans. Okay. There you go. I just, for whatever reason, I was looking past. I kept seeing Flaviano's name, and I was like, I can't see where that is. So I know who Stephanie Hans is. I can't remember what she's currently working on, but that is a very nice cover. So I'm looking forward to potentially ordering. Well, I will order that. What am I talking about? So I'll be showing that off at some episode down the road.
Yep. Oh, look what I got. Yeah,
look, okay. So and Ed gets so tired of these variant covers.
Not at all.
So Ed doesn't buy them, so I have to. So
there you go. I spend all my money like that on X back issues. So
yes, you do.
that's my main collecting thing.
I tell you what, though, it really hit me over the last week that I am good to go on really diving hard into boom back issues. Okay. Like I was just like I was jonesing for back issues and I couldn't find any. And then I went to a shop in Jacksonville and they had like, I don't know, it was like 6 or 7 long boxes of indie back issues is what they were calling it.
Okay.
And so I flipped through, just kind of, you know how you do, you just kind of like, I don't really want to look, but you
Yeah,
just kind of
let's
like,
see what's in there, and
just
if
kind of like, I'm gonna look a little bit in there.
anything
And
jumps out, yeah.
oh yeah, there was a lot of Boom stuff that was, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Mm.
And I was just like, oh, I really would like to buy a lot of this stuff. But my wife and daughter were in the car waiting on me because they were like, you're just gonna run in real quick, right? I'm like, yeah, I'll just real quick. Like a crack addict. Like it'll just take me a second.
I'll run in and out real quick, but all the
Yeah.
time in between, I'm not sure how long that would
Yeah,
be,
it's
but
it's very timey wimey. So so yeah, so yeah, I saw a lot of Boom stuff that I was like, I'm really gonna have to come back to this shop at
yeah,
some point down the road. So luckily I'll be back down there in August, so I'll check them out then. So okay, back to FOC, Mighty Morphin number 20. There's there's B Legacy. These legacy covers are pretty sweet.
yeah,
I'm digging these.
yeah.
Expect they got the original numbering, whatever the math is. I'm sure we'll figure that out at some point because I think we figured it out last episode, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure that even we were convinced that that's what it was.
We could
So
ask Ryan, he could tell us.
we could do that.
Now
We'll
that
check.
now that we have a connection made, we can yeah.
Now that there's a bond there.
Yep.
So let's see, and then the Mighty Morphin 20F. This is the FOC cover, which looks pretty sweet. Orcs number 104 gives us a chance to talk about orcs because we haven't had a chance to do that yet. Because the last miniseries I think ended
Right as we
right as we were
started, yeah,
starting up. Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll get orcs. There's a cover A. Here's a cover B. This is an Eric Powell cover
Oh,
of
the the goon,
Lagoon. Thank you. Good lord, my
the
brain just
goon, and
it's pretty
Hill
sweet.
and Hillbilly. Is that the other one or Hillbilly something?
It's Hillbilly something. Yeah. I know what you're talking
Hillbilly,
about.
yeah. So
It's so bad. I can't. I'm sad. I blanked on Goon.
that's all right.
I had a bunch of Goon stuff at one point.
Knife to
And
the eye.
yes. And then Something is Killing the Children number 24 and A, B, C. There's obviously a massless cover that's also coming out that I've seen that has both because these are, this is the regular and then this is the bloody one. I think there's the same thing with the maskless. I think there's
What color is that mask?
that is gold in
Is
my
that a new
mind.
is that a new color?
Well, I mean, it's just the dragon. I mean, it's the lead dude.
Is
But
his
yeah,
thing gold or
I don't
I don't
know. I
remember
think
it
he's the only one.
I don't remember it being gold, but okay.
Yeah. It's been.
Yeah, I don't think
I
it was
don't.
gold before.
Maybe maybe got an upgrade after what's his name, Jace,
Yeah,
in the
uh,
first House of
attacked him.
Slaughter attacked him. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need because the face reveal in that or on that cover is definitely his face is
Mhm.
disfigured. So I can't remember if Jace did that or if that was done beforehand. So
You also have a Firefly Return to Earth that was hardcover volume
oh
3
whoops, I only
FOC
set
as
it to
well.
comics. So yeah,
Yeah,
you were right.
you
Totally
have that.
glad you
It'll
said that.
pop in up at the
Yep.
in the first line there.
So
Yeah.
we got Firefly Return to Earth hardcover volume 3. So is that which issue? That's 33 through 36. That'll wrap up that first volume. So
Okay.
and those were good issues. I read those in preparation for the new series and it's a pretty good. I like the way that ended. It bleeds right into the next volume, the all new Firefly series, um, changing of creative team and whatnot. But but it's still a nice sort of flow into what that is. So if you're kind of curious, all new Firefly you can definitely pick up without having read the previous series. So you're good to go there. But I do think this particular volume would be pretty good to pick up just to kind of know why the crew is the way the crew is right now as far as like who's on the crew and who's
Okay.
leading the team and that kind of stuff. So that'll be some good background. So and I think that was the only trade
Only
hardcover.
trade, yeah.
Yep. So So good stuff. Be sure to, like I said, this is just the boom stuff. Obviously, as you look, there's publishers, tons of publishers and stuff like that. Pretty much everybody who's got a book. You can click on that if you go to their website and get an idea of what's on FOC, and then get up with your LCS. Good Lord, I can't. LOCKEYMOU. Okay, there you go.
Want to write it down, and
No,
I'll
I
hold
do
it
not
so you can say. Okay.
appreciate that.
Yeah. Cue card.
Yes.
Line.
I need a teleprompter.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
So, but yeah, get up with your retailer and let them know what you want. And so what's coming out next week? Well, I take a swig of my La Croix.
Next week.
Not sponsored.
Let me get that up here. What is that? The 18th?
I'm sorry. Did you not have that pulled up? I've got it pulled up.
I've got it. Yeah, it's right here. No, it's okay. I had them. I just had to shift screens.
I seem to do that to you every week.
All right. Now it's me. I don't have quite the tech that you do. It takes me a little bit. You
have it handwritten. You
no,
went to
no,
the publisher and said, "Give me the
No.
list now."
I'm using my iPad.
Oh, you have more tech than I do.
Well, I lost it. It was there.
Whoops,
But,
sorry.
there it is. Okay. Coming out next week. Scheduled to. There's always the possibility that they won't show up for some reason, but that's happens every now and then, but not all that often to worry about.
It does way more than I would like it to.
Well, especially here lately. I mean, it's like, yeah. So, what with the supply chain? Never mind. I'm not going to go into it. Okay, so we have Alice Ever After issue 2. 5 covers there at least on that one. One is the Adam Hughes Reveal Virgin variant, and not to be confused with the Adam Hughes Reveal variant. So there we are. Angel issue 5 of 8, 3 covers. Faithless 3 number 4, looks like 3 covers on that as well. The Firefly River Run hardcover.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you just for a second?
Yes, go ahead.
So as far as Faithless goes, we have the cover B, which is the erotic variant.
Mm-hmm.
And then cover C is the Stephanie Hans limited dress. So does that mean that they're clothed?
Limited
I know what it
dress.
means, folks. I'm just being funny, but
Yeah, it could be. It'll be just the bottoms, whereas the top will be
Yes.
exposed, as opposed to the erotic, which is
ugh.
full
Mhm.
erogenous zone exposure. So yeah, that's
I
what
don't
it
need
is.
that. I don't need that. Keep moving.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I didn't mean to do that.
See, I'm ready, man. I can, off the cuff with all this kind of stuff. That's not a problem. House of Slaughter number 6, 2, 4, 6, 7 at least covers for that one. And last but not least, Power Rangers number 19 as we quickly march to 100.
Yep.
2, 4, 6, 8 covers on that one.
Hold sec.
That is quite the cover. Who's
hold on a sec. That was the Kyle Holtz or Hotz
body bag.
The body bag variant.
Dude.
But did you see what the number was? 100.
Okay,
that's
yeah,
the 1 in 100.
1 in 100.
$100.
Oh no, that's the body bag virgin variant.
Yes,
down here. Okay.
Yeah. Holy cow.
So F is 1 in 100. Does that mean E is like 1 in 50?
Let's see, because I'm curious now.
And the D would be 1 in 25? Because that would be cool if that's a way we can keep track of those.
Well, I don't know how consistent that is, but yeah, it would be. So no, this is just a regular cover.
What is D?
Oh, sorry. D
is D 25?
I feel like I need to roll a dice here. Yeah, it's the 1 in 25.
Okay, so E is the 1 in 50. F is the 1 in 100, and G would be a 1 in.
Oh, good Lord!
Not 1,000.
I'm a little afraid of that one. That's a great looking cover, though. It's Jorge Corona.
Mm-hmm.
I love his stuff. But yeah, G's not even. There's no link, so I can't even look at it. Oh boy.
Go down to Power Rangers cover G and see if it has a number, because it's clickable.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know the license stuff does a little differently. It's a 1 in 10 for them.
G is just a 1 in 10. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah,
have a lot of just regular covers then.
yeah, and that's pretty crazy. I mean, I
Wow.
know, and I'm gonna look on League of Comic Geeks real quick just for the House of Slaughter book, but it is
Hmm.
it's I'm such a collector of these things, and so when they do the 1 in 100 covers, it really like I'm like, I'm no way. Okay, so House of Slaughter number 6 has a 1 in 25, a 1 in 50, which we've already looked at. We've had the 1
Right.
in 100, which we
R-
looked at.
Right.
The Sorrentino cover, I guess is the G cover, is a
Yes.
1 in 150.
150. I didn't know they went 150.
I
Okay.
didn't either, but that's what this is.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the 1 in 150 incentive variant. Like that, like the combination of things that you have to do that's a Marvel incentive variant cover
Hmm.
thing that you're gonna have to jump through to
So
get
what is
that.
that? That's like Midtown Comics will get one of those,
Yeah, they probably would
maybe two.
get a few of those, yeah. So that's I don't know, we can, because it's our show, we can kind of look
Okay.
around.
Well,
Um
while you're looking, let me
Go
drop
for it.
this out there. While we're looking at what's coming up in the future, excellent news this week that in August, Wind will be back. The first issue of the third chapter of Wind is slated to drop in August. 5 consecutive months, 5 issues, and then that may well be the end of the Wind story. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I was
but
glad to see that. I was glad to see that we knew it was coming back. We just didn't know when.
right,
So that
yeah,
was good to see. It is kind of sucks that this could be the last arc, but
yeah, maybe we'll just have to see how it
yeah.
goes.
Yeah. So House of Slaughter number 6 incentive, they've got 10% off, but they're selling it for 150 bucks or 135, pricing it at 150. So,
Yikes.
and that's
Okay.
usually how these at least with the boom stuff that I've seen online is, and not just, well, I shouldn't say just the boom, just ratio variants lately in general, Marvel especially, Boom especially. This is how they're priced. Whatever the ratio is, that's what people tend to have it priced at.
Oh, okay.
So if it's a 1 in 10, it's usually 9.99. If it's a
Okay.
1 in 25, it's 24.99 or something along those lines. That's at least
Right.
the stores and stuff that I've seen.
Okay.
Um,
I didn't realize that.
and it's only been recently that I've even noticed that. I was like, because I think just all of a sudden people, because when those ratio variants come in, a lot of stores, I know the ones that I talk to, usually have to to wait until the books come in first to verify that they got them, you
Okay.
know, and then because sometimes they think they'll get them because they just know how many copies that they ordered,
Hmm.
but sometimes, they don't get as many as they thought they were going to get or whatever.
Okay.
That's I've heard that argument. But they tend to wait or were waiting to see what those books were selling on eBay for at the time, which
Ah,
sucks, but really
yeah.
that's the only sort of fair market value that you can find. And I use that in air quotes, fair market
It's,
value.
yeah. I
So,
question that that's what that is
but
on eBay, but
comics are really hard ratio variants and stuff like that are very hard to give that kind of price to in the day that they're released,
mhm,
because prices are all over the place. And
right.
so you could go I could go to a store and buy a 1 in 25 for $25 and then turn around and sell it for $50 because the guy who bought it off of me
Right.
doesn't have anywhere else to buy it from. So it's one of those things. So it's very, wishy-washy, but at the same time, that's why I think a lot of shops are starting, or at least again, ones that I've talked to, are starting to go that route. Now, I don't know how consistent they are, but at least the books that I look for, they're pretty consistent
Okay.
with those kind of things. I don't know. It just maybe just the ratio number makes sense to them. Either way, it works for me.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, Doug. Yeah, we dug the Alice book as well, and then yeah, we're all in on Wind. We have been since that
Oh
came
yeah,
out. I think we've
for
talked
sure.
about each volume at some
Hmm.
point in the show, so
Yeah.
it's been spaced out pretty well
And we
for us.
even talk about it when it's not on the when
Yes.
it's not even released.
Hence, yeah, this evening.
Yeah. So.
Um, Also, for those of you that are using your various forms of social media, yesterday, so as I am speaking about this, today is the first day that you will need to do this. Yesterday, they indicated that a contest will be starting today. Boom. Using their various social medias. They are Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. They have a contest where you have to find on one of those four methods, and then once it's used, it won't be used again. Over the next 4 days, code words and a hint of where to look the next day. You take all the code words together, you unscramble the clue, and I don't know how you get that you unscrambled it to them. They didn't really say.
Yeah, they haven't given all those
But
instructions yet.
the prize is a 1 in 100 variant for Grim #1, which is the
Mhm.
Jenny Frison variant.
Yeah, it's the, it's like the negative kind of it's almost some yeah, there you go. Yeah, because I turned my screen off, but yeah, that's a sweet looking variant.
And it should go roughly for $100 if you were to try to buy
Mhm.
it, pending or not pending, but after our conversation we just had.
Yeah,
So today's first clue was on Instagram. So you guys can go to Instagram and get the first clue and then get the hint as to what social media to look at for tomorrow as we are recording this Thursday.
yeah,
So bear that in mind depending on when you hear this. You may have to kick it a little bit to catch up, but there's supposed to be four clues over 4 days.
yeah.
Ends on May 16, which is that Saturday? Or Monday?
Mm,
No, that's
yeah,
next
it's
Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so to give you time to get the clues, sort it out, and whatever. I'm sure you have to fire it back at them,
Somehow.
probably private message, because if you do it on one of these formats, everybody else will see and
Right.
they'll just,
Yeah,
yeah. So maybe email it or um, private message them or something like that.
yeah. And I will tell you this, and I'm not putting Ed on any kind of pressure.
Yes,
Okay, so
yes, yes, he is.
this is so
This is exactly what he's doing, but I can handle it.
you
I
can
have
handle it.
broad shoulders.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Okay.
This is only for me. This is
Uh,
not for Ed. This is
okay.
only a Chris thing. If I somehow, which it will never happen, but I'm going ahead and saying it now, if I win that 1 in 100 cover, I'm going to give it away on the show.
Mm,
I will
wow.
guaranteed. I will say it now. I'm not going to win it, folks. I'm going to try to. Don't get me wrong. It would be really cool to win it. And we're not affiliated with Boom Studios or anything like that. Don't
No,
don't don't think we
we
are. We're just
we
two
have no
fans.
leg up over you guys.
No,
Yeah.
no, trust me. You probably are more advanced than we are. If you'd have seen me try to put all my tech together, trying to get ready for this show, like I don't have any of my equipment. All of it is not here. So as you can see, a new microphone and just headset's not right. Anyway, beside the point. I am not the person who is capable of doing a whole lot. So so, but if I do win it, like I said, I will give it away here on the show.
I'll
No,
have to think about that. Yeah,
no, and
I
I don't want
um,
you to feel that you need to do
no,
that.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I definitely don't want to put any kind of pressure
one
on you.
1 in 100.
It's a nice looking variant, don't get me wrong. So,
Yep.
and I'm not saying that because I've got one on hold somewhere. That is
Yeah,
not the
I
case.
already got one scope. So if I win another one, I'm gonna. Yeah.
I can just
Okay.
give it away. It's just
I
like
see.
giving away
Yeah.
money. Yeah, no, that's not what it is.
Wow.
I just want to clarify that. That ran through my head real quick. I was like, no, no, no,
So
no, no.
magnanimous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me make sure. I
If I
I
get
we
another
talked.
one of these,
Yeah,
I'm gonna. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Did
There
you
we
see
go.
what I have? No, uh, no, it's not that at all.
Oh man.
So yeah, so if you didn't listen to the last episode, I think it was the last episode we talked about this. If not, it's been in the last episode or two. Chris has a rule with variant covers that I will not buy a variant cover that is more than $20
Hmm.
on any kind of regular basis. If it just happens to randomly be a week that I'm not buying more than like $10 worth of comics and there's one that's like $25, I might buy that one. It really depends on what it is though. Like $20 is my rule. So, my local shops know that they know I only do the boom stuff. So I usually get an email or something like that. It's like, hey, we managed to get this in. Are you interested? Like, is it less than $20? And they're like, yes. It's
Okay.
that kind of thing. So, um, and usually it's whoever the first one to contact me, because if like two shops have the same one or whatever, it's usually the first shop to get up with me. I'll buy it from. So, but yeah, so no, I do not have a 1-100 sitting there waiting for me anywhere. It'd be
Okay.
nice if you really someone wanted to sell me one for $20.
Yep.
So, all right. Anything else? You got any more news?
Wind? No, I think that was it. Nothing
Okay.
else. They didn't send out press releases for anything other than upcoming books, and not like brand new books, but the next issues and things like that. Wind was
Yeah.
the only non-existing book that they sent anything out.
Okay.
So yeah.
So okay. So and sort of along those lines, and I know you do this on the Facebook page. So if you've not been to our Facebook page, it's fans of Boom Studios. You should definitely go there. You should definitely join the community. Be a part of that whole group and whatnot, because we would love to have folks over there talking and stuff like that. That'd be great. Especially talking about the books and blah blah blah. We want to build a community of people who love Boom Studio stuff. And it's not that you have to enjoy the entire line. Trust me, it's not every book that we enjoy. We As I explained to my son today, there are books that we know are not written for us, but we can enjoy and be appreciative of the craft that went into the books.
Twig from this week.
Oh, really?
Twig is one of those books. That's from Image. It's not a Boom book,
Yeah.
but it's from Image. Insect-like funny creatures, bright colors, very rounded drawings, all not 50-ish, more
Yeah.
like 12-ish.
Yeah.
Very entertaining book though.
Okay, my son is 22. We'll just say he's 22 for this story.
We'll go with that.
No,
Okay, yeah.
no, he turns
22.
23 in August. We were talking about something, and he was like, "Well, I'm not really sure I like that thing." And I'm like, "We're talking about a TV show," and I was like, "Well, you got to keep in mind that that show is made for teenagers, and you're in your 20s now." I said it's much like Ed and I. We talk about comics that Boom does. Not every comic that Boom does is written for a 40, two white guys in their 40s and 50s.
Mhm.
It's just not. And we're not looking for that. If it is, it's not, it's no big deal. And then I use Maw as the example. Like, that book is for sure not written for us.
Yeah. No,
But
yeah.
we thoroughly enjoyed the book.
Mhm.
We had trouble reading a lot, not a lot of it, but some of it, because
Right.
it was just very
Yeah.
it was very heavy. If you've never read it, if you haven't read it, it's a highly recommended book for sure. But I then had to describe not the entire detail, but sort of pretty
It,
much the story
right.
to my son, who was like, "Oh, I can see what you mean now." Like,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. So, but yeah, but go over to our Facebook page. Again, if you're on Facebook, look for Fans of Boom Studios. We have a link in our show notes and stuff like that. So if you want to look there. One thing I've thought about doing, I know you do it, you share other people's other websites and stuff, links to previews and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
we get those previews as well. And so I thought about not making you do it, since you do so much already. I was just gonna like post those, like starting on Monday, post one or two a day or something like that.
Can we do that?
Oh yeah, for sure. What do you mean? Can we do that? What's that mean?
But well, I mean, would they prefer that we not, in that we are quasi media and we're releasing something beforehand?
No. That's what most people do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
that's what the email says.
Okay.
So
To let them
that's what.
know when we post it or where we
Well,
post it.
they also say that too. So I thought it'd be great if we actually say, "Hey, look, we're posting stuff."
Yeah.
But no, they know we do the podcast apparently, so that's a good thing.
And everybody there is a big fan. And
That's cool.
actually, if everybody at Boom is a big fan, somebody at Boom tell me if you're going to do any more Lumberjanes to the Max hardcovers, please.
Oh, how many more are there?
There are 6 out.
Okay.
by my calculation, they have enough to do 10 with a few left over, so it would be
Wow.
11 with some filler,
Yeah.
um,
Could
which
put
would
in the
be
free comic book day stuff
or
because
a
they had
couple
one of those. Yeah.
standalones,
Mhm.
but definitely they have enough at their rate to do 10. They've done 6.
Oh, so 4 more.
Yeah, I dig those,
Yeah.
and I have an awesome story about acquiring the very first one. It was really cool, but that is just it's an excellent format for that book, and I don't want you guys to stop until you finish it. And I can't find anything. I haven't seen anything. The last one came out in 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
No, not a peep
Hmm.
about a next issue, not even before the world started burning down or
Yeah.
anything, just no word. So at least, email Chris or I and let us know. No, that's
Yeah.
fine. That way I can scratch it off my whine about it list and move on to whatever's next.
So, kind of along those lines, I got asked a question by one of the local shops, which is great that people talk about me behind my back. It's always a fun thing.
Absolutely. And they
So,
tell you.
and they
That's the
tell me
important part.
that's the
Yes,
important part.
that's
Yes.
mhm.
So, he was the shop owner was telling me that buddy his was submitting or had submitted, and you'll appreciate this, a Darkwing Duck #1 that Boom had published. What,
Yes.
10 years ago, something
Yeah,
like that.
at least.
Maybe '07. I forget what year it was. Maybe it was
Yeah,
2010.
it's
But either
been
way,
a little while.
yeah, it's been a while. So he submitted it to get graded and slabbed. So that's against your
Absolutely.
against your rules and stuff. But
It's tough to read them then.
it's very tough to read it. I don't know if you know anything about osmosis, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So but he got it back, and in the reviewer comments, it said it specifically called out the 3 staples. Now, I don't know if you've paid attention to your comics, like this one in my hand, not that you can see it on camera, but only has 2 staples. Most comics only have 2 staples.
Okay.
And apparently, this Darkwing Duck #1 has 3. And so he was like, "Well, I know," he said, "I've got a customer who, knows a lot of stuff about Boom Studios. I'll just ask him." So he asked me that question in front of about 5 or 6 people. And I just went, like I'd never heard of that before. And I even own I've owned a couple of copies of that in the past. I never remembered it having 3
Well,
staples in it.
but I know that there used to be 3 staples in books
Oh, okay.
because I mean, I can go in there and grab some older books,
Yeah.
and I know that in the very middle, there's a staple. So if there's one there, there has to be 3.
Okay. So,
So, yeah, I
yeah, he was wondering if that was just sort of a special thing. I was like, "I don't know." So,
it's a variant.
it's a
It's
variant,
a
yes.
major key. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. It's
But either way, so I
hmm,
was like, "I'll look into it." I've done a little looking into it, but I hadn't asked. Like, I don't think it's something I can ask,
well,
somebody at Boom specifically. That seems like a weird thing to
grab you
ask.
like one of your 80s Spider-Man
Oh,
books
yeah, yeah. That's a
and
good idea.
yeah, look and see. I mean, maybe that was, and I looked it up, 2010. So, 12 years ago, did they use 3 staples? Maybe. I
Yeah,
mean, my curiosity would be, what difference does it make?
right, exactly.
Grade my book. What
Yeah.
is that?
Oh,
You
no, I
know,
mean, they graded it and everything. It was
it's
just
like
sort of one of those reviewer comments, like white pages and 3 staples. I'm like, Sweet. Okay, cool."
yeah,
So,
okay. Better than one,
yeah,
right? I mean,
exactly. It's not falling apart. Yeah.
yeah. So,
It's a fairly new book, so
hmm,
all right, let's jump into some comics.
all
That's what
right,
everybody's wanting to check out.
let's
This is what
go.
they suffer through everything so they can
Doug
get
said
the
he liked
comics out.
Twig too. Not to push anybody else's book, but Twig was pretty good.
Scotty Young does good stuff. I mean, that's the thing. He's been writing, he wrote that. I've not picked up I didn't pick that up. I waited to see what folks were talking about. Like the preview copy of that book or the Zero or whatever, the Ash Can or whatever it was that
Mhm.
came out a couple weeks ago, like tore through, like all of the speculator sites and stuff that I pay attention to, and they were just like, "Oh my god, you've got to get this!" Like it was going for like stupid money, and I didn't understand why, so I stayed away from it.
Right.
But I've heard people of other podcasts and stuff talk about that first issue, and they really enjoyed it. So,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
Scotty Young, and I enjoy Scotty Young stuff, so
It's really
it's one I
good.
may check out. So now that both of you have said that, I feel good. I feel
I,
comfortable. If Ed and Doug say it's good, then
I'm glad to be part of the chorus.
you
Yeah, just like in high school, I
one
was
of
part of
oh
the
yeah,
chorus.
that's true. Yes. All right, so let's I'll quickly cover this because I know you don't want to talk too much about it. It's the new issue of Killer. I don't know if you read that. No, I'm just kidding. It is Once and Future number 25.
I was going to say I didn't even know it came out.
No,
Shows you
it's
how unconnected I am. Okay.
So Once and Future 25. Written by Kieran Gillen, illustrated by Dan Mora, colored by Tamara Bonnevillin, letter by Ed Dukeshire, cover A, the main cover is by Dan Mora. Then there are a bunch of variant covers. Designers also Madison Goyette. It's really weird looking at your comic and doing all the stuff instead of having it up on the screen.
On the screen,
So
yeah.
it's very, very like my lighting is not quite as good as I want it to be. So I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, I was
so
gonna
I'm like
say.
squinting a little bit. I'm like, here's how old man Chris can be.
Yes. Sorry, guys. I can't get away with taking mine off.
He
I
may
could
fall
talk about
into
a lot of
something.
things, but comic books would not be something I could talk about without my glasses on.
Yeah.
'Cause I obviously didn't read them.
So so issue 25, if you've not been reading along Once and Future, if you've been listening to the show but not reading along with the comic, I thoroughly enjoy Once and Future. I think it's one of the best books on the shelves. But it is, and I'll even admit, it's getting to a point where there's too much going on. Like I am starting to feel overwhelmed by all of the different stories and myths and
It is
histories,
very steeped. Yeah.
and I appreciate all of it. I understand the amount of work and sort of where, not where they're going with it, but just sort of what they're trying to build and everything. I totally appreciate it. This is way more than I thought it was going to be 10 issues ago. And I'm big fan of it, but it's getting once they brought in Shakespeare, I knew there was a lot that could be added to this.
To really bring that home, look at those text pages at the end of the issue.
Oh yeah, that's even better. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to
I
mention
was
that.
like, what? It is so. There are people in places that I can't even pronounce. I'm like,
Yeah.
because they're Old English, Middle English. I'm like, what is that? Yeah, so
So
a
so
lot of lore in this book.
yeah, so if you've not picked up issue 25, you go over to comiccon.com. There is I forget what the guy's name is in the back of the book. But anyway, they took an article of his where he went through and sort of associated all of the different stories and myths and stuff that they've been talking about Once and Future, and he just sort of wrote a long op-ed piece about it and sort of pointed out it's not really an appendix or anything like that that really gives you super specific. I mean, some of it is very specific, but it's really well written. It's not well spoken apparently, but
Well written.
it's
Okay.
Will Wheaton.
Way to go, Putty Cat.
It's,
Yeah. Okay.
but yeah, it's really good. It's a really good read, and if you go over to the website, you can check it out. You don't have to just pick up the book and read it. I would, yeah, picking up the book's a great thing.
That
But
would
if
be-
you pick up issue 25, it's gonna be a hard one to say, hey, this is my first issue. But I mean, it's not impossible to jump in on this one. This, last issue we got Robin Hood introduced, and so Grant is kind of explained sort of how he's going to be involved. We get to meet the Merry Men, who are obviously weird fairy
some
creatures,
yeah,
which
some
of
strange
course they
fake
are.
creatures.
Yeah, of course they are. Little John is a giant. Of course he is.
The fairies from Hellboy.
Oh yeah, that's a
That's
good
what they
call.
reminded me
Yeah,
of. Yeah, that he where did he run into those? In the museum or something? They
yeah,
had
yeah.
been yeah.
You're right. This is a very Guillermo del Toro
It,
designed.
yeah, these
That is
fake
that's a good
creatures.
call. Yeah.
Yeah, these as soon as I saw those, I'm like, those look just like that. Now, slightly. I mean, there is a
Oh, sure.
difference,
Yeah.
but it certainly brings those to mind. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. That's a good call. I've been trying to place that. That's it. Um so we get that. We get, you know, we get more of Bridget. We get more. I mean, it's the explanation that Gran gives for Robin Hood, why he would want to
Mhm.
fight the kings plural, and there's more than two now. There's like three or four, and as time progresses, because this book sort of fast forwards a lot because of the merry men.
Yeah.
Um, apparently, they can travel faster in time if they need to. Events still happen. They're not teleporting, but as they run through the woods, time passes differently.
Right.
So,
There's going to be a king introduced at the end of the book too, and I'll tell you
yes.
who I think that is.
So, yeah, so we kind of get there's a big battle. Well, kind of a big battle. Robin
Mhm.
Hood and the Merry Men are involved. It's a skirmish.
Yeah.
And so we get to see them in action and everything, which was kind of cool. Again, super great Dan Mora art. If the writing confuses you, just sort of take a step back and just look at the art. Just really kind of drink all that in, and then get back to the reading. But yeah, we get to the end, and obviously time has sped forward. They're no longer, because they were in February. I think they said they were in like late February or mid
Mhm.
February at the beginning of the issue. They had to wait out the Kings until December, till Christmas or the day after Christmas. And so Duncan was like, "There's no way we'll be alive then." And so that's kind of why the Merry Men come and play to sort of fast forward stuff and everything, which is plot device for sure, just to kind of do it, but it was fine. Um,
Well,
but when
but
they,
I like why she was interested in involving Robin Hood, not only for what he could do, but because of Sherwood Forest
oh yeah, yeah,
and
she had a plan.
what that
Yep.
allowed for them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Nothing seems to be put in the book just for show. It's
Mhm.
not there. All of it has a place for it. Now, sort of the explanation for some of the stuff, like Lear,
Mhm.
why exactly was Lear in there? Because he was like in it for like a minute, basically. But there's a reason for that. That leads to another thing, which leads to another thing, which, that kind of stuff. And so it's all built on each other. So that's kind of one of the reasons I enjoy this series. But and the more I'm talking about it now out loud, I'm like, well, it wasn't as complicated as I thought it was, but still, there's a lot going
It's
on.
yeah, it's
And it was a lot, really a lot was packed into this issue. You could have easily made those two issues, or at least an issue and a half. But yeah, so we get to the end of the issue, and when they come out of Sherwood Forest, it's now April, or at least it's warmer. I think they
yeah.
guessed that it was April, and Duncan knows exactly where they are, or at least he thinks he knows where they are, and he brings up T.S. Eliot, which, okay, we've been dealing with Shakespeare, now we're bringing in T.S. Eliot, and then they bring in this new king, or who you may think is a king, and who is
He
your
he's a king. If you look up T.S. Eliot and you look up The Wasteland,
right?
that was the poem, or
Yeah,
not the poem. That is the source for this part. It's a
yeah,
poem that T.S. Eliot wrote when he was in residence at this place in England that they said that they're at, whatever the name was here that they gave.
yeah,
He was convalescing there with his wife. They were recovering from supposed nervous breakdowns, and supposed because this was in the early, uh, what would that be? Early 20th century,
yeah. It's
um,
yeah, because I think the poem was written
1922,
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
early 20s. So almost, well, right around 100 years now.
yeah,
So the exacts are lost to time, but that is what is supposed that they were doing. He wrote this poem. One of the influences on this poem had to do with the Fisher King,
Oh,
Pow. And so I bet, and there were some Middle Eastern myths that people have read the poem and they say,
right.
well, this played a lot of different things that he pulled in because they were interests that he had at the time. The Fisher King is one of the things that the poem is reflecting. And so I suspect that since we're dealing with kings of England,
Yeah.
that's who this is going to turn out to be. Somebody threw out the Green Knight, which,
I thought that's who it was solely. Well, I thought it's because they haven't come back around to that yet.
mhm.
And as they're fast forwarding through time, that's going to come up quicker than we thought it
Well,
would.
part of the mythos of the Fisher King is that he spent time rowing on a body of water because he could no longer walk, having been injured in a battle.
Right.
And his injury, though, was a leg or groin injury. And looking at this picture, you don't necessarily see that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it may not be the Fisher King,
But that's a good guess.
but the kings and the fact that there is a connection with water and a boat, which is where
Mhm.
he was when they first saw him
Yeah.
off the shore. Um, I will guess that this is the Fisher King, and we'll see. I'm sure we'll find out next issue
Oh,
uh,
yeah. Yeah.
who
But that's
that
a good
is,
guess, though. That's really good. So,
and not Robin Williams, by the way.
no,
This is
that is
somebody different.
true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, very good movie.
Yeah, it is. Um, so 25, I really think it's a good issue. It's a little, it's not a little bit. It's a lot to it. So you kind of have to come in rested, or I don't know if you would do this at the top of your stack or at the bottom of your stack, but either way,
Yeah, this is.
I do think it's a good, it's one of my favorite series. I read last issue again before I read this one, just to sort of, because I knew that Robin Hood had showed up. I was like, all right, let me just make sure I got everything, all my I's dotted and T's crossed before I got into this issue. So I didn't lose anything from the last issue. So but yeah, still great series. It's just it's a thinking comic too. You gotta think about a lot of stuff. A lot of
This
stuff.
would be a good series after it's done to do a Rios Murd annotations on,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
to just get, and be able to make that list of all the different references,
Hmm.
big and small, Easter eggs, whatever you want to call them. But some type of annotated combing through would be
Yeah.
pretty interesting, I think.
That's a good call. All right. So what you got?
All right, let's take a look at Jim Henson's The Storyteller Shapeshifters issue 3, better known as Come and Sleep. Now, this is brought to us by story and art by Amelia Salento, I believe. Now, these are kind of in a script in the book, and I think I read them correctly. Um, like the title, do you have that in front of you, Chris?
No, I don't,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah, the first letter of come is in an ornate thing, and I believe it's a C, Come and Sleep. So, lettered by Jim Campbell, spot illustrations by Sonny Liu. There's a time aspect to the story, back and forth. So, um, a second illustrator really pops the out of current time aspects of the story. And then the designer is Madison Goyette. And once again, I did my cursory, what would it take to buy all of those hardcover rabbit hole when I read
Right.
this? And I still haven't found it successful enough for me to do yet, but man, I
Oh,
can't
you
wait.
want to though.
Yeah, I can't wait in a way until this is over so that I'm not constantly tempted to go back and do that.
Right.
Most of them, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and then the original is 8, not counting the original. 7 themes, 5 of them are pretty easy to get. The other 2 are 80 plus bucks for the hardcover
Really?
on eBay. Yeah, because they're so old, I guess, and they were not necessarily short printed, but they weren't printed with the long term in mind, I guess.
Right.
But the first 2
Wow.
hardcovers are really difficult to come by. and that's
I didn't realize that.
yeah. Okay, so we start out with Storyteller. I think that's his name, and Dog. I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah,
his name because
that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I looked that up and I couldn't find anything. I did find out that in one of the issues of Muppet Magazine from back in the 80s, uh, Dog was interviewed by Rolf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to find out, well, how did you link up with Storyteller? How did you,
Right.
yeah, so that was, yeah.
That's
I
neat.
couldn't find the interview, but I found out that Rolf interviewed Dog, which I was like, yeah, I could see that. In
Yeah,
case there's
that
any
makes sense.
translation problems, Rolf could do it.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It's
So,
just dialect at that point.
yeah,
So
yeah. So they're standing outside, and the story opens. You can tell. Well, let me back up. This is my favorite cover. This cover is a beautiful um by sorry guys, I didn't write it down. I'm not sure who did that. Um Fanny. I really can't read their script, but it's a one named person, and it's an illustration of the young lady who is one of the protagonists in the story sitting amongst. I'll go out on a limb and say she's sitting in a big lotus flower
yeah, that
with
looks about right.
an image behind her of a fox. You can see the head and a bit of the shoulder and the beautiful tail that these particular types of foxes have. And I say that I'll get back to that. And landing on the nose of the fox is kind of drawn almost like it's a memory or it's a another time element of the picture. The young lady on the front is the main part of the picture. Yes, there it is. And on the tip of the fox's nose, you see a butterfly. Now that, you would think, well, that's just something that was added into the illustration. But the butterflies actually play a part in the story as well. So everything here, the fox is a kitsune or kitsune. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. I've heard it both ways, and it is a demigod. It's the trickster character, one of the trickster characters from Japanese mythology. And a lot of times when people draw this fox, or you will see it somewhere, the fox has 9 tails, and that's how you can tell it's not a natural creature; it's supernatural. If it's not doing stuff in supernatural, poofy kind of stuff that the tricksters do. This one, though, all throughout the story only had the one tail. So automatically from the cover, I am led to believe that this is going to take an Eastern slant as far as the writing of the story. Now, in the very first panel, the storyteller is eating mochi, which is a rice cake, kind of a sweet, desserty kind of treat that is known in Eastern culture. So that kind of reinforces, well, this story is going to have an Eastern slant. Offers it the dog. A dog likes it, and he's like, "How many of those can I have?" So he liked it quite a bit, and storyteller's like, a couple. That's all you need." And as they're talking, they're standing on their stoop of their little cottage here. They're looking out, and dog sees a fox and starts to get all uptight about the fox. I guess the foxes and the dogs, well, certainly in the story as well, they don't get along too well. And dog is reflecting this. Storyteller's kind of talking him down, and ultimately he says, "Well, so we don't escalate things. Let's go back inside, and I'll tell you a story, about foxes."
Of course.
So they get in here, and storyteller's sitting there starting his story over a mug of tea, and dog is up looking out the window, and you can see through the window the fox is still out there in the garden at the edge of the garden. So the dog is still keeping an eye on the fox. And the story comes across as kind of a fable ish kind of story. Although in my mind, at the end, there wasn't the aha takeaway moment that you normally have in fables. But it struck me as kind of fableish in its construction. There's a young man, local village, spends time outside a lot, and he has this particular portion of the nearby creek, nearby stream that he likes to go to. It's quiet, it's secluded, it allows him to kind of unwind and be by himself, away from all of the uh, trials and tribulations of a, I don't know, an agrarian kind of lifestyle that he has. Well, he's there one day, one evening, and a lightning bug in the panel, flips and zips around. And then the next panel, over to one side of him, there's a young lady bending down to the stream to drink out of the stream. Apparently, we are led to believe that that lightning bug turned into that lady. Young, both of these individuals, the protagonists here, are probably, I would say, at this point in the story, they age through the story, but at this point, they're early to middle teens, I would say. And we have a little interplay between the two of them, and we see over time, now he certainly has a reason to go to this spot, and he starts to go different times of day, different days of the week, nighttime, just basically whenever he can. She's always there. They develop a relationship. They fall in love. Ultimately, he asks her to marry him. Now he has absolutely no knowledge of anything other than this young lady. That's all that he knows. She's always there, and he just moves ahead with that thought. Well, he brings her into the village to prepare for the wedding, and every single dog in the village goes ape poo when she's around. Just absolutely crazy. So much so that they have to try to cut off and seclude where they're having the ceremony, because all of the dogs that are not leashed or penned in are trying to get to her, and they're doing so rather aggressively, not necessarily violently, but you definitely get the opinion that it's something they would really prefer to do, is to get to her. Later that night, while they're having the post marriage, post ceremony dinner, dogs still howling and making all kinds of commotion outside. They're ignoring it. Some people are concerned by it, and some people in the house are even saying that it's a bad omen that the dogs are that upset over the union of these two. Some point later, we move on down. We see that she is now pregnant. And again, as she is encountering this family's dog, the dog is very upset. And as time has gone by, the dog has found a way to get loose, and it gets loose and it chases after her as she's walking into the village to meet up with her husband for a day's activities. What is going on, or why, isn't as important as the fact that the dog got loose and it catches up to her. Now, there's a panel here that you see, really the first indication post Firefly, that she is something, because the dog runs up to her and it grabs a hold of a sleeve of her blouse, and you can see that the dog is in the foreground. In the background of that panel is her, and she is changing form. She's humanoid, but she's not human anymore. She's got both of her hands up in front of her face, and they're not human hands, and her face. So to me, she looks very almost werewolfy in the way that it's drawn. So the dog tears a part of her smock. She has had enough, and out of defense, she poofs into her normal form, which is a fox.
Mhm.
And I will note the fox only has one tail, which is kind of disappointing. But okay,
You wanted it so bad.
yes, yeah. So, so she, in her fox form, is fighting the dog. The people who were in the village that saw her approach, one of which was her husband, unfortunately, saw something, right? They saw her here, and then they saw Fox So, you know, put that together in your mind however you want to, as far as these people are concerned. So more dogs from the village, now that they've heard the kerfluffle, come in and start to uh, dog pile, if you will, on the fox. Well, she has none of that, and through a major explosion of her magic, she throws all the dogs off. She's taken her licks. She's pretty eat up, beat up, clawed up. Looks at the man uh, in kind of a "I'm sorry" kind of way, and runs off to get away from everything. So that is the last that he sees her for a long time. Uh, Sees his wife, sees the fox. Maybe they're the same person. He thinks that it is, and it doesn't bother him that this is who she was. That comes out a little bit later in the story. Time goes by, time goes by. No, as far as his family is concerned, his wife just left and never came back. They have no knowledge. He was the only one in their household that was that saw any of this. And like I said, there were some villagers that saw it too. Well, one at some point, day or night, who knows, doesn't really matter. A baby shows up on the stoop of the house. She was pregnant. So this is what she has chosen to do with the child. I don't know. I guess because it is part human, it can't turn like she does, or I don't know. But she brings the daughter back, or well, I'm sorry, that's a supposition on my part. The baby shows up, or a baby shows up. There we go. And so then we go through several pages, several panels of him raising the baby, always with the fox nearby, but out of human range. It's watching from way over there. It follows them as they're trekking to this and going to that. It's always there, but well out of reach. Just keeping tabs on him and the child.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, One day, in the middle of a field that he has worked since he was a child, he notices a tree that I guess you would presume was planted there by the fox as a gift. He and his daughter sleep under it, play under it. I'm sure they spend time under this tree because it's the only thing in the middle. This may be a rice field. I don't know. I don't think it's a rice field because I don't think you're going to be laying in a rice field from what I've seen of rice fields.
No.
So
No.
it's yeah, it's something else. But this huge and then there's this beautiful what did he call it? Tree magnolia. It's a magnolia tree. Time doo-doo-doo-doo. Time later, the and you can tell this now because you have a child that is getting older. So she was an infant of course, when she was left at the door. He is raising her to honor and to cherish all creatures. This is the indication that he knows that his wife was more than human, and he does not want that concept lost on his daughter. So he's raising her to cherish everything. In this example, he's even showing her a spider, which, of course, is going to be one of those things that really pushes the limits of I'll be nice to creatures,
Right. Yeah.
dealing with a spider. But he's teaching her to take care of all of. If those of you that aren't in this frame of mind will pardon me, all of God's creatures. Be good to them all. She is I don't know, 6, 7 years old when the tree episode, the magnolia, comes about. Here later on, 9 or 10, they're in the village during a celebration of some sort, and this woman who has a pack of product on her back um, gives the girl a kite. And now again, keep in mind this is Eastern culture, so these words and things aren't the same as they are over here. So the kite that she gives her is much more like a just a child's hand toy. And she runs and takes it to her dad. And, he's like, oh, cool. Where did you get that? And she references the woman, and the woman is standing over there. And you can tell he's taken aback. And she sees him as well. Something is exchanged there. There are very little words in this book, probably 50% less than you will normally see in comic books nowadays. So it's very text free. So yeah, something passes between the two of them, and then it's a celebration. There's a big explosion of fireworks in the sky, and it draws everybody's attention. And then when he centers himself back, he looks to something, see if the woman's there. Maybe he was going to approach her or whatever. Of course, she is gone at this point because it's not that time yet. We move on until now the child is a woman. The father is an oldish man. He's definitely showing age. He's not the gray-haired grandpa yet, but he's up there. She is probably in her 20s. They're working in the field, and here is the scene where, as they're working, they're showing the two of them working together, and there's a butterfly. The next panel, here's 2 or 3, and then there's just this explosion of butterflies for several panels. And one of them is a pink, and the pink one flutters and circles around and lands on her nose. And then it hops off and flaps over to him and lands on his finger as he's looking at it. And then it flaps and flies away. My impression is that is his wife. Not a messenger, but actually it's her.
Right.
So after that, he decides, I haven't done this in a while because of how everything happened, but I'm going to go back down to the stream. I'm going to check out our spot. So he goes back down there, and sure enough, everything is as he remembers it. I would tend to think that maybe things have shifted a little bit. There's been high
Sure.
water and low water and floods, but he finds his spot, and as he's looking, a bear cub comes running around the bend at him. And the bear cub stops, and right behind the bear cub is a big old mama bear. And mama bear decides that dude is too close to her cub, so she's going to go and encourage him to leave the man. Well, at this point, a fox jumps out of the brush from somewhere, jumps between mama bear and the dude, and does another of these big magical bursts like she did to shake off the dog attack in the village years ago. And mama bear, appropriately deterred, takes her cub and runs off. The fox, I like that, he was startled by the bear, and so he jumped back and fell down on his behind, which you can then imagine with a big bear towering right in front of him, over him. Well, between that and him, straddling his legs, is where the fox jumped to fend off the bear. So she was right there on him. And he tries to talk to her, and also you can tell that energy is a pinkish energy that she gives off, and that butterfly was pink. It's the only places really that particular shade of pink is anywhere in the story, are those 2 or 3 instances. He tries to talk to her. She runs off into the woods. He is convinced that this is his wife. This is the mother to his daughter. So he tries to talk her back. No, she's run off. So he's dejected, and not only is he dejected, but he is now almost without hope. And the next several panels, it's almost like he has lost hope. That this was his chance, and he saw it, and it was there, but he couldn't get it. So he drags himself back up to the hut. He still has his life. He still has his daughter that he has to take care of. And as he's going, the fox is following him. He goes into the house, and the fox is standing right outside. And he asks her, come in and sleep. You know how long this has been. You know how difficult it's been. Basically, he is beseeching, stop this. You can come back home. And she does change, and you see at last that it is her. And she, either we don't. I don't know necessarily that it's realistically, but as she changes into human, she is aged just as he is.
Oh, okay.
Now, if she's a spirit, I don't think that that was necessary. So perhaps she is doing it to put him at ease,
Right. Yeah.
you know. And so they both go. The final panel is the hut with lights on, and then we cut to the summation of things by the storyteller and dog, which the end result is dog being kind of uh, explained to via the story, but also by the storyteller that, perhaps the foxes aren't as bad as you think, or at the very least aren't what you think. Dog takes that, goes over and takes some of the mochi and walks outside to extend uh, a gift to the fox if it's out there. We don't. Well, no, we do see, you do see in one panel here through the window that the fox is still standing, uh, laying out there. So dog takes a peace offering by way of the mochi out to the fox, and that's where the story ends.
Cool.
Very, very nice, pretty, flowing, soft, kind of um, nice fable art, not
Right.
the evil, grim fairy tales kind of story,
Right.
which this story wasn't. So the art really does a good job of being soft and kind of a billowy, almost fluffy kind of art.
Mhm.
Lots of rounded corners, if you will, rounded edges, um, billowing kind of art. The almost a pastel, I think you could say, colors. Um, the like I said, the pink was used in just a few situations so that you could string those together and understand visually what was going on. But a very fun, nice, light kind of story.
Yeah.
Not at all like Mall.
Well,
It
no, not at all.
yeah, no.
No. For those of you who remember earlier conversation. Ooh. Um, I've always been curious about how they put together storytellers as a whole, as far as, you know, because it is a Jim Henson property. So is it, is it something where like Jim Henson's production reaches out to people
Mm,
for solicitations of or proposals, if you will, of of stories that they could tell
mhm.
or would like to tell? Do they put the creative team, the artist and the writer together, or do they come as I'm sure there's a combination of the two, maybe, or is it something that Boom Editorial sort of reaches out? Hey, we know X, Y, and Z people, reach out to them. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious on how because this is for all intents and purposes an anthology
Right,
series.
right, absolutely,
So
yeah.
you're not getting the same writer and artist team on any given issue. Now you could have some because they've had, you know, 5 or 6 of these miniseries at this point. Obviously have people who contribute to all, to one or two or all.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I've just been, it's one of those things because this, I just had wondered that, and this artist and writer, or writer artist, is not somebody I'm very familiar with. So
No,
I was just kind
no,
of,
not at all.
it's just
Or
one of those
the
things.
colorist for that matter.
Now, as far as like the cover artist, Franny, she did do a lot of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer covers,
Oh, okay, okay.
post like issue 25. So, because I was like, that name sounds familiar. So while you were talking, I looked it up real quick
Franny, okay.
just to make sure. So, but yeah, she done some of their Buffy covers. And those are great, but those are much different from this cover. So it's not it's still a very painter like style, but it very different style for this
Right.
particular issue. So that was kind of neat. But yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this when I go get my books, because these have all been really good stuff. Each sort of their own thing, and so it's just a nice little. Definitely the way you were talking about. seems to be a very nice little sort of easy story to kind of lot
Right,
going on. You know,
right.
I do like this sort of life story kind of things. Those are always good to see.
Yeah, both of the ones, or actually all three in the Shapeshifters here, have been across the majority of an individual's life
Yeah.
as we peek into certain parts. And yeah,
Yeah.
um, I've read others of the series. I haven't read them all, on and off. And I don't know. This is two out of the three for the Shapeshifters that have just really struck me.
Mhm.
I don't know. That could be me being, 54 and gray. But they've been doing these for since 2011, I think, was when the
Mhm.
Storyteller came out. So um, probably 12 or 13 would have been the first themed one. So
Yeah.
roughly 10 years, they've been doing these
Yeah.
themed anthology-ish kind of collections. But yeah, this is two out of three that really left a mark. So I'm looking forward to the fourth one. Just hoping that it does too in a different way than some of the other
Yeah.
books and the superhero books and whatever else.
Which is what I'm getting ready to get into.
Hey, absolutely.
It is definitely a stark difference
Oh yeah,
from that one. So
yeah, definitely.
Seven Secrets number 17. This is the penultimate issue of the series, 18 being unfortunately the last issue of this series. Maybe, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get to into that book. Seven Secrets is written by Tom Taylor, illustrated by Danielle Dinaculo, maybe by 18. I'll get that right. Letter by Ed Dukeshire. Second book. Letter by Ed.
Yep.
Um, we go weeks where we don't have him on a book, and then you just just
He
to
letters
remind you
everything.
guys, so
Yep.
I can do it too. So, colored by Walter Bamonte with color assistance by Katina Rinaldi. This is cover Danielle Diaculo, a couple other covers, and then logo design Grace Park, designers Madison Goyette, who we've seen again. So Madison getting some work in this week. This book was created by Tom Taylor and Danielle Diaculo. So up to this point, if this is your first issue of Seven Secrets, I'm sorry. Like I said before, 18 is the last issue of the series, so you've got some reading to do. I highly recommend checking out this issue. You're going to have a lot spoiled for you, and I think it's really going to ruin the enjoyment of the 16 previous issues. So maybe hold off. Go back and read this one from the beginning. I don't like telling people to go back to the beginning. But this is definitely a maxi series. I mean, it's an 18 issue series. Reading it from 17 would be a disservice to you. I don't think you would enjoy it as much as we have, reading it from the beginning. So, every issue of this series has always started off with Casper going, "My name is Casper." After last issue, that's not the case anymore. And so this issue opens up with his mom saying, "My name is Eva." So, so I was like, I like that they did that. That was very good.
Well, now you
The
see where he gets it.
Yeah, exactly. The unfortunate part is why she's having to do it. So Casper, unfortunately, was his head was removed from his shoulders, very Highlander esque, and so that's sort of like, oh, well, I okay. I thought he was supposed to take on the big bad guy, and that was his thing. That was what he was supposed to do. So this issue is sort of obviously right after that. It gives a brief history of Eva, and then sort of walks you into uh Casper being born, and sort of why she, I think, a primary drive for her of why she became what she is now, and why she treated Casper the way she did, as far as being very protective of him. Um, she's throughout this entire series, she's a hard mother, as far as like she's tough, but she's fair to him. She's very loving to him, but she doesn't want anything to happen to him because she knows what's coming. And this is the issue that we find out why she knows what's coming. all intents and purposes, Casper told her as a baby. But this is it's sort of I'm really going to him and haw around this one because I don't want to spoil this particular issue for folks who haven't read it yet. But we do find out, that Casper knew as a baby through other means, other voices. He's got voices in the head that tell Eva, "Hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what Casper is going to be used for. This is, you need to protect him. You need to do this and that, and that, and really kind of lays out his life and her life moving forward. And in doing so, she has to give him up. And so we found out in the previous issue, that Casper had grown up with the fairies and stuff like that. And while I think there had been sort of stuff said about that in previous issues, I'd have to go back and just double check. I just didn't remember blatant, reveals like that. So, but this is where he goes and lives with them, and then he eventually comes back, comes and becomes part of the keepers, and then that his dad didn't really die in the first issue because that was revealed like 5 or 6 issues ago, but that's never been revealed outside of Eva. Like no one else knew this. And so that does get revealed in this issue that he's been alive this whole time, which is great. I really loved that reveal many issues ago. And then who he's been playing or what place he's been this entire time. But this issue is sort of obviously building toward issue 18, which is the major conflict. It's there's a lot that goes on in this issue, but it's paced very well. We talked about how Once and Future there was a lot going on in there, and while there was, the pacing was okay in that, there was just a lot going on. This is a lot of going from one character to the next set of characters and bringing everybody together and putting the team back together, basically, because the keepers are sort of spread out all over the world. Sort of the reveal of where we could say where Casper's other self has been this entire time was sort of a neat um, reveal. One that I didn't see coming. There was sort of hinting at it. So that was kind of neat. But yeah, now we're kind of back. Everybody, the gang's all back together again. We're getting ready to make one, last ditch effort to beat Kano and his demon possessed self now. And then that'll be next issue. We do get a nice reveal cliffhanger at the end of this issue that I won't reveal to you. But it's, it definitely sets up for the last issue, and I'm really looking forward to it. This series as a whole, as far as like art goes, we've talked about it tons of times on it. It's probably one of my favorite looking books. It's very anime-esque in some areas. It's got high energy in it as far as sort of um I feel the motion of the characters on the page a lot of times when there's especially action sequences and stuff like that. So it really kind of jumps off the page. The coloring in this book is great. I mean, it's super. If you're looking for a sort of subdued kind of book, this is not it. The colors are just really pop off the page, and it's just it's a style, it's an aesthetic that this book has, and it's really a lot of like I said, just energy. It really sort of exudes from it. Um, I've been curious because I've read Tom Taylor stuff in the past. I've read Injustice, and I've read what else? He's done some other those into the world DC stuff things. And I can't remember what he's doing. He did Deceased. He plays really well with those licensed characters when they kind of give him, all right, look, this is its own thing. You do whatever you want to do. But I've always been kind of curious about what he's going to do with his own characters. And given the time, I mean, we're in 17 issues now. I mean, he really is able to develop a lot of characters, at a good pace from where they were 17 issues ago. If he had decided that this book was actually going to go on for another, to issue 30 or 40 or something like that, I could see just more evolving of these characters. And I don't think, having got to this issue, that you really could have expanded it too much more. I mean, maybe up to 20 issues. Some areas could have used, possibly, a little more explanation or a little more exploration is probably what I'm more looking for. But it's gonna be a nice 18 issues. It's going to be a nice collected edition. I would love for an oversized collected edition of this. It'd be great to look, to read through. But again, great issue. I've really enjoyed. I don't think I've read a bad issue in this series so far. Tom Taylor just continues, to do his Tom Taylorness and just bring, sort of fantastical characters who are very relatable. Because I definitely can relate to Eva, and just sort of knowing what she has known Casper's entire life. I don't think I would react much different. So, or do anything much different than the way she did it. So, good book. Looking forward to seeing how it ends. So, and then be sad afterwards. So, like, dang it, one of my favorite books is off the shelf now. So, but it will definitely be a fun read. Go back and read through. So.
All right, so probably enough time for one more book, and there are 2 books left to choose from. So I'm going to pass on the one everyone else is talking about because I thought it was poo. And no, I'm kidding. Grimm.
I was like, which book is that?
Yeah. I haven't really heard anybody talking about The Waters of Canley. So
yeah.
Not that that's bad, which I didn't realize, but this miniseries is an adaptation of the novel. I didn't realize there was a novel for this.
I didn't either, yeah.
So
good to know.
Grimm, brought to us by Stephanie Phillips, illustrated by Flaviano, colored by Rico Renzi, lettered by Tom Napolitano. The logo was designed by Dylan Todd, and the designer was Madison Goyette.
She's got the hat trick.
Yeah, let me look. She also designed Dune. So she
Oh,
designed.
geez.
Yeah, she designed all the books that we're looking at
Nice.
this week.
Good job.
Or that we could have looked at this week. So, Grimm. It deals with death. I also want to say we're not going to get into it too much, but the Dune, The Waters of Canley, there is a scene in there that is very triggersome. So for those of you that might just pick that up because we haven't talked about it to see what it is, be aware that there is a forceful male-female encounter that may not be to everyone's liking, and it's not intended to be. There's a point for it in there, but it is in there, not a lot and not heavily in the comic book. It's my understanding in the novel there was a little bit more time spent on it, but either way, just so that when you pick that up about halfway through, you're not blindsided by that. Grimm, our protagonist is Jessica Harrow, and I guess Harrow for like harrowing, or anyways, the Boom YouTube show today, or maybe yesterday, Doug S says Grimm was fantastic. I agree, Doug.
Yep.
I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it enough really to be all in about further issues. I mean, it was really well set up, really interesting to let me read it now so that I can get these answers, so I can see more, so I can, consume this story.
I want to know it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to know now.
Kind of like Pokemon, instead of catch them all, I want to read them all. That's yeah. Me and Ash, we're here it is. We're like that. There we go. And no, that's not an R for sign language, although it is an R
it is
in sign language, but yeah. So our story opens at the scene of a car accident. And I thought when I saw the first several pages that it was, because it's not the kind of situation that you haven't seen before. Okay, there's a car accident. Obviously, someone has been hurt. If you look really closely, you see the body is pretty banged up, and so you're like, outside of the car, no less. They were ejected. Uh, Between that and the mangling of the body, yeah, this person's got to be dead. There's oh, but what happens? Oh, well, here they are, and the typical thing goes when you want to look at uh, an underworld, a netherworld kind of situation, and you have a dead person. Oh, maybe they died before their time, and kind of a just like I said, I've seen it before, but after a couple pages, he encounters Jessica, and Jessica is not like your typical um, somebody is dead. Who is the next person they see kind of person?
Hmm.
She's a little bit. First of all, it's a female. She's a little bit younger, a little bit hipper. Her dress, like not the piece of clothing dress, but what she's dressed in, is a little bit different.
That's
Uh,
such a cool outfit.
she's got a really kick-ass scythe, and so you're like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah.
so she is going to be the Grim Reaper. No, no, she. It turns out she's not. So then the story progresses. Yeah, I don't want to.
I know. It's
I don't want to give the story away.
oh, I know. I know
You know.
exactly what you mean.
So what to say? Well, the story progresses in a fashion that you would kind of expect the next part, the next sequence to be. Um, Except we get to the holding place, and you see that it's not necessarily like the quasi-religious descriptions that you may have heard from a variety of religions. It's more like almost like a doctor's office or
Oh, yeah.
a
Yeah.
ter
It's a
or no,
waiting room.
yeah, it's the DMV,
It's
of
it's a
hell. That there you go with it. Take a number and we'll call you
I
when
think I've
it's
been
when
to
it's
that. It's in Atlanta. I know
is it
exactly.
when it's your
I know which
time. Well,
exit it is. Yeah.
okay. Um, Now, we meet a couple other people. We meet Eddie and we meet Marcel, both of which look like they could be interesting characters. Now, I will say, I believe this is what I've seen is 5 issues tagged to this. But listening to Stephanie talk I've listened to 2 interviews about Grimm from her, and there is way more story than 5.
Yeah.
I don't know why I've seen 5. I don't know if that's what they've put on this portion or why
Well,
5, but
yeah, and I think it's kinda like Boom's done in the past. It's sorta like it's 5-issue story arc. It'll be the 5-issue miniseries.
okay, and then a
It's kinda
break
like
between
Once
them.
and Future. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
okay,
like, let's see how sales do, those kinda things,
okay.
so
So, a lot of these things you can see are set up definitely to be used more than longer than
mhm.
just 5 issues. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not useful in just 5 issues either, and, really the first thing that comes to mind is Eddie and Marcel.
Yeah.
uh, Automatically, I saw these 2 characters and I'm like, who, why, what, more information just by the way that they're designed. They weren't designed to look like throwaway characters, which I think that the initial character that we run into the book kind of was designed. That character was designed for a purpose, and then when that purpose is used, we won't see any more of that character, I don't think. And pretty much, I think that the use is this first issue. I don't think we're going to need that character beyond this first issue, but we might see him again. Eddie and Marcel, oh yeah, we definitely are going to be seeing more of them.
Mhm.
I think by the way that they're written, and certainly more of Jessica, which you would hope because she seems
Yeah,
to be the
right.
protagonist of the story. But she gets in a situation where she loses a rather vital piece of equipment.
Right, yeah.
Um, and I had to go back. I'm like, what? Flip, flip. I guess here. I don't know.
Sleight of hand, yeah.
I didn't see it, but so she gets the help of Eddie and Marcel. Well, first let me step back. You have some aspects of the commonly used mythology about the underworld and about crossing over from living to non-living and things like that that you see in this story, but you see in a very new and unique kind of way, a very different take. Uh, the boat trip, Chris, comes to mind right off.
Oh
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"Oh, cool!" And
Those are
yeah,
great pages.
oh
Yeah,
man, the art,
yeah.
dude's art is just. Um, so she enlists the aid of a couple other people like her, who we find out are reapers, as a job title, but they are not the. So she is not the Grim Reaper, which we have been exposed in media as being, the only one. And here in this situation, it's like, no, there's multiple, and
Right.
even more that we
Oh yeah.
see their background. So she gets the help of these other two reapers and goes looking for what she has lost. She does encounter it, but or find it, but by the end of finding her lost item, um, we see that she has physically she finds herself in a situation not current, but a situation that she was formerly in, as far as
It's
her
very peculiar circumstances.
yeah, as far as her being. Um, and I think I know why it happened. So I'm waiting to see if and I would think that it will be, because it's a pretty major plot point, be explained in subsequent issues. But
Yeah.
she tracked down her lost stuff with the help of Eddie and Marcel, and then she finds herself in a new situation from what she was in throughout the book, but not a new situation to her existence.
Right.
She has been here before. She has been this way before,
Right.
and that's basically where the story ends. She's kind of caught off guard by this change in situation, and then camera turns off, and that's
Yeah.
that's the end of the shot.
Yeah.
So very interesting, unique take on, like I say, life and death and the underworld and the characters and the traveling and all these different aspects that, if you have ever paid any attention to ancient mythologies, Roman and Greek come to mind right away. I think perhaps one more so than the other, but I have a hard time telling the two apart because they're so similar. And others, there are other mythologies that incorporate an underworld where the dead go, and any type of, there's heaven, or the reward and the punishment, and there's a place in between potentially in a lot of mythologies, and the transferring of living to dead and those responsible for shepherding the dead, and uh, pointing them in the right direction and keeping up with them and all that stuff. Very different, new, hip, I guess, and hip just meaning uh, current current zeitgeist kind
Right.
of hip,
Yeah.
not like in a snotty description. And I apologize if that's a bad word to use. That's not what I mean. But it's just a much more contemporary,
Yeah.
I think, take on all of these ideas, putting them all together, and then just expanding on them. If this were really going on, if this was really what happens, um, what would it be like? Well, but then what would this be like? Well, but how would they do this? So it's, um, but you can tell that it's a very well thought out, very well, uh, excellently illustrated um, take on it, and I certainly not just look forward to four more issues, but I really hope that whatever the plan is, as far as publishing, has to do with several volumes, I guess I
Oh,
can say,
sure.
of
Yeah.
this same story, with some or all of these same characters continuing on
Yep.
volume over volume. But yeah, Stephanie, and from what I understand in the interviews, larger extent as well, Flaviano. The two of them have put together a very interesting and very intriguing world. And this, the cover that I'm looking at here, I guess is the A cover. It's the half
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
We see both aspects of her like this in the story. We see the full Stephanie, which is the regular face, and we also see this skull kind of as well in certain parts of the story where she gets particularly aggravated and uses what may be some supernatural kind of powers that
Yeah.
she has or supernatural abilities that
Yep.
she might have. But yeah, the starting off with losing a rather important part of her job was kind of amusing.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Because even when she goes, Wait a second," and like you did, I was kind of like, Wait a second." Yeah, I was like, I needed to go back. I'm like,
yeah, really, it was.
Let's retrace your steps here. Where
Hmm.
was was it with you the whole time?" It's like, when did you last remember having in your hand? Yeah.
And
So
it was funny, when she was trying to elicit help. They're like, "You what?"
right. Yeah.
Yeah, like, no, this is not something that happens. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this first issue is great. I mean, and I have been doing my worst at hyping this thing up the last day or two. When I heard that it sold out already
right,
before it even came out on
the
Wednesday
first printing sold out.
was great. Um, so they had already announced the second printing for it, everything, which is cool. I always like when I see second printings because that just means
Another
uh,
cover, right? That's
another
okay.
cover, but it's
Yeah, we know how
the
you think, man.
well, I saw yeah. There was something I don't know what the number was or if I even saw what the actual number was, but they had said that the sales on this book was, like really, really high. So this was reordered very well or FOC ordered very well. So people are really getting in on it. So and that's great. It's one of those things where, you know, coming from coming from Boom, not just a publisher like Boom, but coming from Boom, when Boom has a lot of very successful books, stuff like Something is Killing and House of Slaughter and Berserker and Once and Future and now Alice Ever After and now Grimm. It's one of those things where, and they've had those kind of successes in the past too. It's not like they just started doing it, and so it's sort of been building over the year. So when you see a new book that's coming out from Boom, I don't think Boom is sort of selecting books sort of willy-nilly, just kind of like, oh sure, that sounds good,
Right?
or
Yeah,
something like that.
we'll
there's
give
there's
that a
some
try and
yeah,
see.
there's some due
Yeah,
diligence that's being put into it, not only with the subject matter of the book but also the creative team in it. And I know they have some involvement as far as like the creative team. um I guess if a writer needs an artist or an artist needs a writer
mhm,
kind of thing, I think there's some involvement there, but I don't know for sure. But they don't just publish any book, so I feel like they're looking for something specific, and whatever that is, it's there's every book is kind of where they think one book is going to be the super big hit, and it might just not hit at the right time, or it might take a little time for people to really get interested in it. I think Once and Future was a very highly sought after book when it came out. There's a lot of hype around it, and I felt like it kind of dipped for a while and then kind of came back up, which was, as far as me, it was fine. I was reading it from the beginning. But Something is Killing did something very similar to it. Like, no one was really talking about Something is Killing at the very beginning of it. And it took a couple issues for people to kind of figure out what the book was. And um I think the audience at large, comic book fans at large, are seeing these kind of books coming out from Boom and going, okay, here's a new series. We know what Boom's track record is of the kind of books, and not kind meaning um like subject matter or anything like that, but sort of you've got some confidence in Boom that they're going to be publishing something that is going to be worth your while checking out. Now, obviously, not every book's going to be that great book that you're looking for. It's, every book kind of hits somebody differently, but, there's going to be a good audience for it. And so there'll be some success. So obviously, people are jumping on this book, early because of that success of other books and stuff. And they're looking, going like, oh, is this gonna be the next thing? Which is cool, but it's one of those things I hope people just don't buy the book going, oh, I just want to flip it or whatever in a couple of months or whatever. I hope that, because I'm on those speculator sites, I'm in those Facebook groups, I know what they're saying. But at the same time, I also know when Wednesday comes around and people are picking up the book, and then Thursday comes around and people start to talk about it more. It is a book that I'm seeing a lot of people enjoying. So that's great. Um, I, for one, loved the first issue, thought it was great, thought everything about it was great. Um, there really, there really isn't much about it that I was like, oh, I kind of wish that this was this or whatever, some direction different. From the moment I started reading, I was like, this is enjoyable. A nice Blue Oyster Cult song, just right there at the beginning.
Yes. I read the first couple and I'm like, I can almost get the
Yeah,
rhythm of that. What is that song? And then by the end of it, I flip back and I'm like, I said, Terry, look up these
right,
lyrics for me. I said, is that Blue Oyster Cult?
right.
And she's like, yeah. I
And
was
there needs
like,
to be more
no
cowbell.
way,
So,
man. That's yeah.
well, see, I've got that song in a playlist that I listen to
Wow, that is
once a week at least. So I that song is very well. So when I saw that in the previews, we were seeing preview images
I
of it, and
didn't.
that's in the first couple pages. I was kind of like, ha, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's a cut, a kind of cut you don't see very often.
yeah, yeah. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. But yeah, just it's a great, and one of the mysteries, the book is called Grimm, and Jessica is a Reaper, and so are all these other characters. But yeah, the mystery, or one of the many mysteries, is is there a actual Grim Reaper if there's so many other Reapers,
Right, yeah.
and if there is, who is it? Where is
Where is he? Why
that
is
kind of
he
thing.
not?
So
Yeah.
and I do like a story that sort of provides, sort of that Shrek sort of analogy, many layers. It's an onion. It's you can
Uh,
continue to peel it back, and there's a story that goes this direction. There's a story over here. So in one issue, we're getting a lot of subplots and stuff that it could go in any direction. There's the main one that we're going through, but they're already dropping those little things
mhm.
here and there. So, like you said, there could be multiple stories that get told. So, if you haven't had a chance to go by Boom's YouTube channel, their Boom Chat is great. Brianna did one with, like I said, what did one with Stephanie and Flaviano,
Fabian.
talking about this book. So, it's about a 20-minute interview. It's great. It's you know, you think we gush over stuff. Brianna is the
Oh my
ultimate
gosh.
gusher, which is great.
Yes.
Just her sort of enthusiasm is, if that doesn't sell you on a book just for energy level, then actually listen to the interview and that'll sell you on it too. So
I spent a lot of time watching that interview, trying to look at his shelves and see
oh
what
yeah,
books
oh
he had
yeah,
on there,
yeah,
because she wasn't in a position where you could really see much. Hers were farther away, but he
yeah,
was right next to
yep,
a set of shelves, and the books were. He had more books than he had room for, so
oh
the
for sure,
books
yeah,
were set in different ways. Plus, you know that some of these are set that way because they're frequently used.
oh yeah, yeah,
So I'm like, what is that? That big one turned just laying on the top. What is that? I can
yeah,
almost see the, but yeah, I couldn't make out any titles or anything, but I was very, not that I could probably read the titles because I believe he's in another country.
yeah,
And I would imagine that those titles are probably in that language
yeah,
and
probably.
potentially not in English. I think he was Italian,
uh
Flaviano.
Maybe.
Italian or
I'd have to
French?
ask my wife. She's the Italian lover in our
I
family.
I
She
couldn't
could
necessarily
she could
tell by
pick
his
up an
accent.
accent like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he certainly had one, but
yeah.
I don't necessarily recognize what it was.
Yeah, and his art in this book is just great.
Oh, man.
I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. So yeah, solid issue, solid first issue, first issue, if I can speak correctly. Um, so if you haven't checked it out, I hope you do.
Check it out.
And if you do, please let us know.
Get
Maybe
it.
let us know what because I'm just curious. I always like to hear what other people
Grimm
talk
and
about it.
Alice, and like you said, Once and Future and
Hmm.
Berserk and House of Slaughter and Something is Killing, Wind in August. I mean,
I
just
don't like the stabbing motion that you're
get,
doing. Is the cat
oh,
near
that's
you?
no,
Okay,
I'm emphasizing being emphatic.
I appreciate that.
Um, yeah, just so many good books that they're having. Yeah,
It's a
just
good time. It's a
good
good time to
stuff.
read.
Good stuff. Yeah.
And like I said before, I have after so much that I've read lately and really sort of the retro stuff that we have been doing the last few months has really gotten me to dive further back into when I go into comic shops, back issue stuff because I'm having to rebuild that collection. And is as bad as it was to have to get rid of it, and it was had to get rid of for reasons, but having to go back and redo it is fun and it's not a chore by any stretch.
Right.
So if so it just sort of, at least for me, you know, reminds me of how much I enjoy this stuff. Um, and it's always, good to be on the show talking to you about it. So
Speaking of retro stuff, do we need to
sure.
let everybody know that we've made a change?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and tell everybody about that.
So we were going to cover Sarah, is that
Spira.
the Spira,
Yeah, Spira.
which I ordered all three actually. I have 2 and
Did
3, and
you?
I have
Awesome.
1 at the post office waiting for me.
Cool.
But we have decided, in lieu of that, to celebrate someone that recently died, and we are going to be looking at George Perez's Sirens,
Mhm.
which I wasn't necessarily aware of at the time or since then, but it within the past couple days came to my attention that that was the last actual series that he did. Um,
Yeah.
he was having increasing physical problems, and then around 2019 is when he retired
Yeah.
completely. He may have done some covers since then. I don't know exactly, but certainly that was the last series he did. Chris and I remember it. We
Oh,
remember
yeah.
talking about it.
Mhm.
Actually, it also had a um, one of the giant size black and white issues
Yep.
of issues 1 and 2 put out for it. So I have that, but I
Do you?
don't. Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
don't think I have any of the individual issues off the top of my head. I went ahead and bought the trade, and I'm gonna go and look. I remember going through them, but I don't know if that was uh, going through my stuff or seeing them
Right.
somewhere and going through 'em. But
I remember having the issues way back when. Um, I
oh yeah, we
remember
were
reading the first issue or 2, but I don't remember anything about that series.
we were all about it. We were this was another previous iteration of the
Right,
show.
yeah.
We were all about that. George Perez
Oh,
at
yeah.
Boom.
Yep.
That
It's
was
everything that we wanted.
far and away one of the bigger artists that had
Yeah.
decided to do a Boom book while we were doing
Oh, for
one of
sure,
the
yeah.
volumes of the show. So we were like, "Oh man, yeah!" And this is all him. He's going to write it. He's going to draw it, and
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yep, so I'm
uh,
looking forward to that. I'm in search of the back issues myself, so hopefully, I will find them this weekend. If I do not, then I will be doing the same thing, just going ahead and ordering the trade and getting that so we can at least cover it. So we're shooting for, did we say next week, the 19th?
I don't know. You will not have it in by next week. I'll tell
Not
you
if I
that.
order it. No, there are a couple comic shops here locally that I've reached out to. One or two of them hadn't gotten back to me yet, and I'm planning on being a man about town this weekend, so I will stop into some of those shops to take a look anyway.
Well, we
Um,
looked at the 18th. That's next week, and there were 3 books I think that we
yeah,
normally read, and then I think. Um, you could probably do it quicker than I could. Look up the 25th and see. I suspect there's going to be another 3 or 4 books
Oh
probably
yeah,
coming out
they've
that
been
weekend.
cranking them out. Yeah.
So
So yeah, the 25th. Yeah, we're gonna have Godzilla versus the Power Rangers. We're gonna have Killer. We're gonna have Magic Hidden Planeswalker. Excuse me, as I scratch my eye because all of a sudden something decided I want to fly in it. There we go. Still blind. Power Rangers. Something is killing. Yeah, we got
wow,
the
that's
Vampire
full.
Slayer. All of that's
Um,
coming out on the
well,
25th.
the week
So
after is just the 1st of June.
yeah.
Um,
And then we've only got Shapeshifters, Magic the Gathering, Once and Future. That's all we got going on that. Um we'll keep all of you informed. Let's say this. We're gonna shoot for next week.
okay,
If I can't get it, I'll obviously let everybody know
okay,
on the show that we're not gonna do it that episode. But that's at least what we'll shoot for. Now you
okay.
said you ordered the trade. Have you got it in yet?
Uh, it.
Because I want to make sure you've got time.
Let me think where I got that from. I got that from eBay. No, I think it's sitting down at the post office
Okay.
right now too.
All
So
right. So
it
I'm
and
gonna
Spira both.
because like I said, I'll do a couple looks these comic shops here locally this week or this weekend, and if I don't find it, then I'll do a order if I got a next day it or 2 day it or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Ain't no big deal. So
I do know that Lone Star does not have the collected, and they only have 3 of the 6 individual issues.
yeah, I did look there. So
So
it's all right. We'll find it because it's definitely um, a good book, a good time to talk
oh
about
yeah.
it. So, because a lot of people,
Well,
are
yeah.
talking about Crisis and talking about, Avengers and the Teen Titans run and all this other stuff,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
no one is talking about Sirens. And
Not that
I definitely,
not that I've heard.
it's very at least appropriate for us to talk about
Yeah.
it. So we'll
That's
definitely
that's
do that.
that's boom. That's what we
It's
do.
that's what we do. So, all right. Anything else before we get out of here?
No,
All right.
I think that's it.
So if you want to come by the website, it's comicaddiction.com, or excuse me, comicaddiction.net. Hadn't been comicaddiction.com in a long time. Boomaddiction.com. It is the front door and the back door to the site. You can go there and check everything out. It's all the episodes that are posted, which is 37 of them right now. It'll be 38 for this episode. Hoo-hoo. Getting closer as we make that run for episode Legacy 100,
Yep, episode 100.
whatever that is.
Woof.
So
Us
we'll-
and Power Rangers. Yeah.
we'll show something about it when we get closer. Right, sure we will. If you want to email us, which we do have voicemail, we did not have a chance to get to it this episode. We will get to it next episode. So hang tight there. If you want to email us, whether just a regular email or an audio file, which is what this one is, you can do so at boomaddiction@gmail.com. And attach it there. That'll be cool. We'll play it on the show. We'll talk about it and all this other stuff. If you don't want us to talk about it on the show, just say please not. This is not for the show. Usually those are legal things and harsh criticisms.
Yes.
So if
and
you do
we're
either,
really good about not talking about those on the show.
we'll definitely talk about those. We'll definitely talk about
okay.
those. So you can also come by our Facebook page, which we talked about earlier, Fans of Boom Studios. Links in the show notes there, or you could just search for Fans of Boom Studio. Ed does a great job posting links of various things from various other sites. Like you said, he's got a couple things up there, a couple interviews with Stephanie Phillips about Grimm. So you can go check those out, which is cool. If you're not checking out all of these interviews of these boom creators on various podcasts and stuff like that, I highly recommend that you do that. It really, I love listening to interviews. I mean, it's one thing to read about the book, but then when you hear them talk about the book, when I hear a creator just kind of like going through the motions talking about it, it's not a book I'm going to read. But when I hear just like, oh my gosh, you won't believe how many, like we did this and we were just so excited for this. When you hear the passion and the excitement in their voice, it makes me that much more excited about reading the book. So I'm easily pushover. It's just one of those things. So you can follow the podcast and YouTube channel over on Twitter, which is Boom Addiction. It's pretty easy. You can follow us there. That gives you links and stuff to when we post the show, when we're getting ready to go live with the YouTube channel, which is every Thursday night at 7 p.m. or excuse me, 9 p.m. Wow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been 2 weeks. Just give me a second. There are other numbers and stuff going through, but you don't understand
all,
what is going on up here.
all
I
the numbers
don't
by
understand what's going up here
the
right now.
sounds of it.
So,
Yeah.
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do post about that on our Twitter. And then Ed and I tend to share it. You can follow Ed at Teal Productions. You can follow me at Chris Parton. Again, all that's in the show notes as well. Those are the best ways. Twitter is usually the best way to get in touch with us. DM us. My DMs are always open for friendly comments. If it's a negative one, I'm gonna have fun with you.
Yeah. You
So
can send it.
you can send it. Which we don't. I haven't ever got anything negative. I've never got anything negative, which
I don't
is
believe I have either.
try the way I try and treat people on Twitter. It's
I don't get anything negative unless I put something on Twitter
Unless-
questionable and
unless
somebody
you've asked for it.
yeah somebody calls me out on it. Otherwise,
It's fine. It's fine. So yeah, so Twitter's a good way to do it. And have I forgotten anything? Nope. You can check out the podcast on all the other podcast catchers like Stitcher and Apple Music and
iHeart and
Google Play and all and all those other cool things. If you want to follow us on YouTube, we're at Comic Addiction. You can look for us both ways, both as Comic Addiction and Boom Addiction. So we made sure you could do it that way. So come by and subscribe and like and all that other cool stuff. It would be cool if you did subscribe because we are trying to build the numbers up over there because you get, I don't know if anybody knows on YouTube, you do get some benefits the higher your numbers are. I'm not looking for 1 million subscribers. That'd be cool. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for like 100. I'm looking for 1,000. You get every one of those things. You get like some other, not benefits like physical. You get benefits like in the software, and that's what I want. I want to make sure I can get this thing out to the most people as possible.
all about the algorithm.
Yep, I'm trying to figure it out. It's something
There's
new
a
for
song
me to
in
do.
there somewhere.
There's somewhere in there, yeah. So that's it. That's all we got.
All right, man.
All right. So everybody, this is episode 38. 39 is next week. I'm super excited about that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching us on YouTube if you did that. Doug, as always, thanks for joining us. I saw there's a few other people who are checking us out. I appreciate all of you for watching.
Oh, they didn't chime in. They're
even
working.
if you didn't chime in, it's
come
fine.
on,
It's
people.
understandable. We are very intimidating people.
Don't flirt. Say something. Give us a big howdy.
But definitely, if you come in, even if you don't talk anymore, you're right. As long as come in, say hey, say howdy, whatever.
Yeah, that's all.
We're not going to bite hard. I mean, it's just one of those things. So, but as always, Ed, thanks for joining me.
Sir.
And everybody, we will catch you next week. Goodbye.
Ciao.
And